Welcome to this episode of MoGuard TV. I'm your host, Staff Sergeant Corey Inus, and I'm a recruiter in Jefferson City. In this episode, we'll feature a brand new transportation unit in the city of Bridgeton. Then we'll head to Camp Crowder to show you how drill instructors are helping our recruiting battalion prepare new recruits for basic training. Then we'll head up to the state capitol to witness a commissioning ceremony of some new officers in the Missouri National Guard. And finally, we'll hear some thoughts from General Frank J. Grass, the 27th Chief of the National Guard Bureau. In our first story, we'll find out what it's like to start a brand new transportation unit and set up an armory from scratch.
In October of 2015, the Missouri National Guard stood up a brand new transportation unit, the 12th 31st, based out of Bridgeton, Missouri. In April of 2016, they moved into the old Bridgeton City Hall. The building was leased to the Missouri National Guard by the city of St. Louis for $1. It had sat vacant for several years. The Bridgeton Armory is also home to B Company of the 1st of the 138th Infantry Regiment.
This is actually a perfect place. I mean, being that it was a former government facility anyway, it has all the amenities that we would need, and as a dispatcher, I have office space. I don't have to be right up on the neck of someone else.
We have a lot of space. We've got a big gathering room that the soldiers can be in, and it's nice because it's not the standard Army armory.
The leadership of the 1231st had some challenges in starting a brand new unit.
So we pretty much started this from scratch. We had no equipment, we had no weapons, no vehicles, we had nothing.
Less than a year ago, there was only a few soldiers drilling here. We didn't have this armory and we didn't have any equipment.
And now we're proud to say that we have a brand new armory right here in St. Louis, that we have 121 soldiers on our books as of yet, and over 125 pieces of rolling stock.
We've got our equipment now, so now just trying to establish a battle rhythm, a training schedule to meet the requirements.
Attention!
One of the big reasons for establishing an armory in Bridgeton was to give current and new soldiers coming into the Guard an option to drill near their hometowns.
We're close in proximity to the city and many counties where everybody lives. We're close to colleges in the area where a lot of our soldiers attend.
It's a 30-minute drive as opposed to the former 2-hour drive I had to Marshall, Missouri, my previous unit.
It's always been at least a 2-hour drive for me to come to drill, so I really liked that I didn't have to miss work the night before drill. I didn't have to wake up 2-3 hours before I had to be there. So it's nice to be able to drill where I'm from.
Guardsmen are coming more from the urban areas and less from the rural areas of the state. The Missouri National Guard is responding to that shift by opening armories closer to the communities in which the soldiers live.
Having service members that live in the local area, that's the most important because it does impact our response time. If a state active duty or an emergency situation does arise, all my soldiers live local. Take about 30 minutes for most of them to get to the armory.
It brings a sense of comfort and security. I mean, any time you have a military component in a neighborhood, especially with the amount of things that are going on now, it should bring some sense of comfort, and I think that's what it does for this community here.
But we're also buying food on the local economy. We're getting catered meals from local businesses, and that's where we want to keep our money, is in the local mom and pop shops.
The more experienced soldiers in the 1231st are eager to work with the newer soldiers that have joined the unit fresh from basic training and advanced individual training.
Well, I'm excited to be a part of the brand new unit, just the fact that we can bring new soldiers in and actually mold them. Right now we got a few new soldiers in to our units, so we're just trying to get them familiarized with these vehicles. They are large, so navigating around turns and backing up, and it's just the most important thing we can do right now to make sure they're safe when they're out there in the roads.
get them used to it, get them comfortable so they're not nervous. That way when we have, missions that we have to do, they're ready.
And these truck driving skills are something that the Guardsmen can use to advance their civilian careers.
When you're operating big vehicles like this, it's kind of intimidating. So I want to try to have them relax a little bit and just, take it easy. We definitely put safety first, and we want them to know that.
During a recent drill weekend, the Guardsmen performed preventive maintenance on their vehicles. That included a 360-degree inspection, checking fluid levels, looking for damage, and ensuring that all lights and signals were functioning.
We keep our vehicles up to par and make sure they're ready for any mission that comes along.
Everything has to be done right. Everything has to be in tip-top shape, so that way we have no problems on the road when we're doing a mission.
Having a transportation unit based out of an urban area can pose some challenges when it comes to soldiers keeping up with their driving skills.
There's an old neighborhood that no longer is occupied, so we're able to use those roads for driver's training. There's a lot of space and there's not a lot of traffic in that area to worry about.
The soldiers in the 1231st are aware that they are a part of Missouri National Guard history.
Yeah, the historic nature of it makes it even better because I know that when they take the unit picture, I'm part of the first class.
Being a part of that history is just something amazing and definitely, something to be happy about.
I'm just happy to be a part of the unit, happy to be a part of the foundation. Feels great to be a part of something that's helping the nation.
After the break, we'll take you to Camp Crowder in Neosho, Missouri, where some new recruits are being prepared to go off to basic training.
For over 375 years, our nation's citizen soldiers have sacrificed, struggled, and triumphed at home and abroad. Through resolve, resilience, and readiness, our Army National Guard continues its proud legacy.
As citizen soldiers,
We are your next door neighbors.
we're your colleagues in schools, offices,
In factories.
in every corner of America. The Army National Guard is hereby. We have a stake in the safety and security of our communities.
After all,
That is where we live.
We serve in Afghanistan,
Iraq, the Balkans,
Africa, the Sinai, and the United States Southwest border.
we are citizens.
We are soldiers. We are your neighbors. We are always ready. We are always there.
The Army National Guard. Over 375 years of value and vigilance.
Active duty drill sergeants from Fort Leonard Wood supported training for the Missouri National Guard at Camp Crowder in Neosho, Missouri. The Guard's Recruit Sustainment Program, or RSP, was developed to prepare new recruits for basic training. The program's training cadre is made up of Missouri National Guard recruiters and RSP coordinators.
If you do not have the discipline to do the small things when they don't matter, you will never have the discipline to do the important things when they do matter.
We want to teach the soldiers exactly what the National Guard offers, exactly what to expect at basic training, and we want to help instruct them so that when they get to basic training, they already know what to do, they know how to act, and that's the whole purpose of RSP, really.
The Missouri National Guard partnered with the Active Duty Army to integrate drill sergeants from basic training into the RSP training cadre.
The intent of the program was to allow the Recruit Sustainment Program soldiers that are in our formation preparing to go to their initial entry training to provide them the opportunity to be exposed to a drill sergeant and just assimilate to that, get used to it in order to minimize the culture shock whenever they arrive at training.
Does that make sense?
That's really the biggest key that we want the RSP soldiers to take away. The drill sergeants are there to instruct them. Also, they're there to discipline them, but they're also real people.
To actually have the trained drill sergeants who understand what these recruits are getting ready to go into, it's just an incredible partnership for us to have that full complement of cadre out here supporting the Recruit Sustainment Program.
All right, does everyone understand that? Got it? Yes.
When I first saw them, I thought, oh gosh.
The recruits in this formation, that was the first time they ever saw a drill sergeant, first time they've ever interfaced with one, first time they've taken instruction from one. It'll take the edge off some of their anxiety about going to basic training. Just having a drill sergeant talk to them directly will bring a humanity to them that they haven't got by watching war movies about drill sergeants.
The reason we yell is not to yell at you. It's to yell because you're doing something wrong that somebody else down the line is doing.
But if I sit here and I say, I need you to get your hands interlocked and behind your head, everybody hears me, I make one correction, everybody that's not doing it needs to fix themselves. That's what he's talking about.
It definitely changed some of the rumors that I've heard of drill sergeants. You know, they're big, scary guys, they're gonna yell at you, be as intimidating as possible, but after talking to them today, I've learned that they're there to help you. Like, they're more encouraging and like helpful than they are scary and intimidating.
The drill sergeants began their instruction with PRT, or Physical Readiness Training, providing the recruits with an introduction to group exercises conducted at basic training, and more importantly, how to follow commands and pay attention to detail.
I learned I need to do a completely different type of push-up than I've been practicing on.
The drill sergeants also taught their recruits how to salute properly, drill movements, and cadence.
So cadence is, the easiest way to put it is just keeps them in step, but it's a huge motivator.
With the drill sergeant's instruction complete, there was an opportunity for the recruits to ask questions about basic training.
My name's Adam Hudson, sir, and I was wondering if there's any tricks for staying in march time.
Muscle memory. Everything that we do is through muscle memory. Saying it to yourself and practicing. That's, honestly, practice is the only way you're gonna get there.
I thought that was great because a lot of the times you can't think of questions right on the spot. Sometimes the question that you want to be asked is asked by somebody else.
One of the other privates asked what ticks them off the most. That really helped me understand what they're really going to get upset about.
Attitudes. I hate that. Being disrespected. I don't like that.
Now I'm aware and I know I won't be doing those things.
Well, I feel like I'll have an edge over everybody else who goes who haven't met a drill sergeant before.
As we move forward and the program matures, it will be a continued relationship, and we're going to introduce it across the state.
It helped me, build some confidence. So that really helped them coming in, showed us what to expect.
I'm actually ready to get there and get it done and get that experience knocked out of the way. I'm really looking forward to it.
After the break, we'll attend a graduation ceremony of the Missouri National Guard's Officer Candidate School.
They say a photograph is worth 1,000 words. We say it's worth a whole lot more than that. Dear National Guard, are you up to it? It's up to you.
Historic. Unique. Exciting. As challenges continue to test the mettle of Americans, your community has to depend on willing citizens just like you to answer the call and respond to local disasters and other times of crisis. You may be surprised to find out who we are and what we do. In fact, it could actually be your story too. The Air National Guard.
On Saturday, September 10th, the Missouri National Guard held a graduation ceremony for 27 officers who recently completed the Army's Officer Candidate School. These soldiers are now poised to become leaders in the Missouri National Guard because of the intense training that they received. About half of these new second lieutenants attended a traditional OCS as a 1 weekend a month drill for 18 months. The others, many of whom are still in college, attended the accelerated OCS program that is 8 weeks straight. In both variations, the soldiers receive a high level of leadership and mentorship training that sets them on a path for success.
We prepped them to be leaders in the Missouri National Guard, and on the federal side, they were going to deploy, what to expect and how to perform, how to act, and what they should know. Phase one, and the cannon goes off, and it's game on. It's a mile a minute, everything's a rush. We stress them out. They get 3 or 4 days into it, and we basically break them down harder than basic training. So it's getting back in that military mindset where they don't own their lives, we do.
Second Lieutenants Michael Taylor and Rochelle Fraser took the traditional route as they had full-time jobs they couldn't step away from for 8 weeks.
Officer candidate school tests you physically and mentally every single day that you're in it. Just the ability to kind of push forward and come back each week and say, okay, I'm going to get through this and ultimately get that goal of commissioning as a second lieutenant.
The OCS program, the training that we receive there, it cannot be bought, it has to be earned. You earn confidence, you earn trust, you earn the ability to think on the fly, to be able to adapt to any environment. You earn the trust of your teammates, of your peers, and of your trainers. It is a fantastic program.
Second Lieutenant Quinn Hobbs did the accelerated program this past summer, as she is still in school at Missouri Southern State University.
The most challenging part was just the constant stress put on us with little to no sleep. Making decisions while you're in that state of mind is very difficult, and so I think that was the most challenging part for me.
The new officers see that going through OCS has really helped them grow as leaders.
I feel so much stronger, I feel so much more resilient, and I feel like I'm taking a step in the right direction.
It was interesting to see how much I feel like I've learned and how confident I am in my own abilities through officer candidate school.
The ceremony, which was held inside the state capitol building, was a chance for the Missouri National Guard to recognize not only the recent graduates, but their families as well. Family members took part in the ceremony by pinning the rank patches onto the dress uniforms of their loved ones.
It's a very big deal to me, almost emotional kind of, because you put so much work into this program that lasts 18 months, and you don't think it's that long, but it wears on you a little bit as you continue to go through. So to finally reach this culminating event, it's something I'm very, very proud of.
We show them that it's important. They're going to go on and show their soldiers that's important, and it's going to continue on like that.
My family being there, they have been my driving force through the entire program. So to have them present, to be able to see me walk across the stage as a second lieutenant, I can't even put the words what that means to me.
In our final story, we'll take a look at the accomplishments of General Frank J. Grass, the 27th Chief of the National Guard Bureau, a 4-star general and a native of Arnold, Missouri.
General Frank J. Grass, the 27th Chief of the National Guard Bureau, retired at the Missouri State Capitol after 46 years of service with the Missouri National Guard. The ceremony was held at the Capitol Rotunda, where 35 years ago, Grass was commissioned as a second lieutenant. Missouri Governor Jay Nixon hosted the ceremony along with honored guests including General Joseph L. Lengyel, Grass's successor as Chief of the National Guard Bureau, Major General retired Raymond Reese, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Army, and Major General Steve Danner, the Adjutant General of Missouri. General Grass began his military career as an enlisted soldier in the Missouri National Guard in 1969.
I was a young high school student, kid growing up in Arnold, Missouri, and not really knowing what I wanted to do coming out of high school. It set me on a path. As I went on in my enlisted career, at one point I got very active with the shooting program, and it really took me to a whole new understanding of the Guard, the coordination that has to go into a rifle match, how you put a team together, the practicing, the selection. At that time, for a young sergeant to be able to interact with a captain on a daily basis became a big deal. I think that really set the stage. In fact, the captain I was working with at the time, he had said, hey, you need to go to officer candidate school.
At 10 years of service, Grass entered officer candidate school and immediately questioned his decision.
When I went to OCS, the first weekend you go through the state program, a lot of pressure put on you to see if you really want to be there. Of course, I was a little older, had 2 children at the time, had a full-time job. Why would I want to do this? I'm having fun being an enlisted soldier. And my wife said, well, just stick it out, try it. And my father-in-law looked at me, who had spent 3 years and 7 months in a POW camp, and he says, well, it can't be that hard. At that point, I was done. I had to go.
Grass attributes much of his success during his military career to his family.
Family is so important to me. I grew up in a large family, and my wife and I have 5 children, and could not have done it without Pat's great support and the kids supporting me. And of course, the war effort put more stress on so many families, and that is such a critical part of what we do, is making sure our family programs take care of the families, take care of the children, take care of the fallen. So all those programs have become extremely important, and we're institutionalizing those in the National Guard.
As a Missouri Guardsman, Grass commanded the 220th Engineer Company in Festus and the 203rd Engineer Battalion in Joplin.
I think of leading as you are the supervisor, but you have to manage the people and their expectations, and you got to take care of those people. Those men and women, I mean, they're going to make you successful. You're not going to be successful on your own. They have to help you, and you have to make sure they're taken care of.
General Grass was instrumental in transforming the National Guard from a strategic reserve force to the operational ready force that it is today.
When 9/11 occurred, I was chief of operations, and we had to overhaul so many of the ways we did business just because we had never mobilized, 100,000 since probably World War II. The next morning, the director of the Army National Guard, Lieutenant General Roger Schultz, said he had been at a meeting with the Pentagon and came back to Arlington, where our headquarters was. And he said, this will change us. It would change the nation, but it will also change who the Guard has to be. We can no longer be that strategic reserve. Once we got everything up and running, got the investment in there, everyone was going to war with the same as the active component had. Training, leadership development, the equipping is the same. And that moved us out of that strategic reserve and the mindset of changing from, hey, we'll have time to get ready to go, to, as a Guard, we got to be ready to go right now. So we've really become an operational force. At a time the nation needs us, we are better than we ever have been in history.
Grass represented the National Guard as a member of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, serving as a military advisor to the President, Secretary of Defense, and the National Security Council. He worked directly with the Council of Governors and State and Territories Adjutants General. Throughout his time as Chief of the National Guard Bureau, General Grass worked closely with the Adjutant General of Missouri, Major General Steve Danner.
He has been a sounding board for me in so many ways. I need that advice. And if we're headed in a wrong direction at the national level, I need somebody that can tell me that. Because sometimes when you're a 4-star, people don't want to tell you when things are bad. Steve Danner would always tell me. He'd give me advice, and he would let me know what the men and women of the Missouri Army and Air National Guard needed and what worked for them and what didn't.
Ethical leadership is important to all of us, especially in this day and age. And General Grass has made us all a better Guard, a better Army, a better Air Force, a better military because of his ethical leadership from the front. And I think that is a legacy that he'll take forward.
It is now my honor to introduce the Commander of the Missouri National Guard, the Adjutant General, Major General Steve Danner.
Thank you, Staff Sergeant Innes, and thank you, viewers, for watching this episode of MoGuard TV. As Adjutant General, my goal is to provide opportunities for all Missourians. By adding force structure, as we did by standing up the new 12th 31st Transportation Company, we are creating hundreds of part-time and full-time jobs. Guard service provides Missourians with free access to skill sets, education, and technical training they can use in civilian careers. All able Missourians who want to serve should have the same opportunity. Our new armory in Bridgeton is a common-sense solution. By opening a facility along public transportation routes, we are making Guard service more accessible than ever. We are also taking steps to ensure our Guardsmen have the skills they need to succeed. Whether we are talking about preparing new recruits for basic training or commissioning a new group of second lieutenants, we must constantly invest in our future leaders. And speaking of leaders, this episode showcased the career of one of the National Guard's finest soldiers, General Frank Grass. General Grass has been a leader, mentor, and above all, a friend to many of us here in Missouri. His steadfast leadership, through a difficult period in Guard history shows what a motivated Missouri Guardsman can accomplish. We are proud of General Grass's career and thankful for the sacrifices that he, his wife Pat, and his family have made for our state and nation. We wish them happiness in retirement. Well, that's it for this season of MoGuard TV. On behalf of Governor Jay Nixon and our nearly 12,000 soldiers and airmen, thank you for your support over this past year.